Part 2. Implant Planning. Typically in an all-on-4 case, the abutment of the distal implant will exit in the second premolar region. Let's choose our implant. Use the left mouse button to click on tooth 45. Scroll through the implant bar and choose your implant type, in this case dynamic. Scroll through the table to choose implant dimensions. Typically a 13mm implant will be chosen at first. Drag and drop the implant to the orthogonal view. In order to achieve the correct prosthetic outcome, go directly to the abutment. Reduce the collar height, increase the length, and angulate the abutment to 30 degrees in keeping with the 30-degree multi-unit abutment. Now you have set the angulation of the abutment to 30 degrees, return to the implant planning. Drag the apical portion of the implant to the mesial, distancing the implant from the mental foramen. Align the 30-degree abutment. Click on the special icon to measure the distance between the implant and the mandibular nerve in a three-dimensional environment. With the left mouse button, click on the green cursor on the long axis of the implant and drag in order to adjust the length of the implant. Verify again the distance from the mental foramen. Use the measuring tool to measure this distance in the two-dimensional view. Return to the prosthetic view. Rotate the abutment by rotating the implant itself. Verify the position of the abutment in relationship to the denture teeth. Use the Hounsfield index tool to measure the hardness of the bone surrounding the implant. Use the camera tool to take screenshots of the scene. Add additional comments for further reference. Let's review some of the additional tools available in 3Shape Implant Studio. Click on the scissor tool to see the cross-sectional view in 3 dimensions. Click on the Implant Hounsfield tool to view the Hounsfield index on the implant surface, ranging from D1 to D4 on the Misch scale. Toggle the view of the DICOM from bone to X-ray view. To place the next implant, click on the panoramic view in the region of the lateral incisor. Now click on tooth 42. Scroll the bar, choose the implant type and dimension, and drag the implant into the orthogonal view. Adjust the abutment dimensions as we did before, only this time do not correct the angulation of the abutment. Tilt the implant by dragging the red cursor with the left mouse button. Take note of the cross-sectional view of both the bone structure and the radiographic stent. Verify the position of the abutment in the 3D view. Now that we have established for implant 42 that a straight multi-unit abutment may be used, take measurements of the depth of the soft tissue by taking a measurement between the surface of the bone and the fitting surface of the denture. Take additional measurements, for example the length of the screw access channel. Take measurements with the Hounsfield index tool to estimate the hardness of the bone surrounding the implant. Add comments such as notifying the implant number for future identification. Now let's repeat the action for implant 32. Again, choosing the implant type and dimensions, dropping the implant in place, reviewing the implant position in the bone, and reviewing the position of the abutment. In the case of implant 32, a 17-degree abutment was required. On setting the angulation of the abutment, it is now possible to fine-tune the implant. Let's continue to implant 35. And now let's complete implant 35 using the same principle of a tilted implant with a 30-degree multi-unit abutment. As this surgical guide will be tissue supported, it is necessary to plan fixation pins. The fixation pins will stabilize the surgical guide during use. Here we see the placement of a fixation pin. It is best to place in total 3 fixation pins in order to stabilize the tissue supported guide. Now fine-tune the position of the fixation pin. It may be necessary to reduce the safety zone around the pin to ensure that it does not conflict with the adjacent implants. Now that the implant planning is complete, we may move on to the design of the surgical guide.